The starship Horizon drifted silently at the edge of the Centauri restriction zone, it all a testament to human engineering wedged between invisible boundaries that marked humanity's prescribed limits. Dr. Marcus Chen watched the holographic displays, his fingers tracing the intricate lines of containment that had defined human existence for generations. The Galactic Concordance had mastered the art of subtle suppression. It was not outright imprisonment, but a carefully constructed system of economic, technological, and diplomatic constraints that kept humanity perpetually on the periphery of galactic civilization. Each regulation was a gossamer thread, seemingly delicate, but collectively forming an unbreakable web that had contained human potential for over a century. Marcus remembered the stories his grandmother told him, tales of the early days of interstellar contact. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage with enthusiasm and hope, only to be systematically marginalized by more established species. The Zorn Collective, the Area Confederacy, the Quantum Nexus, each had played a role in constructing the elaborate framework that limited human expansion and innovation. The current restriction zone was a perfect example of this sophisticated subjugation. Humans were allowed to occupy a carefully measured volume of space, with precisely calculated trade routes that ensured maximum control and minimum opportunity. Communication channels were monitored, technological exchanges were strictly regulated, and any hint of significant human advancement was quickly and efficiently dampened. What the Concordance did not understand was the nature of human persistence. Marcus's current project was far more than a simple research initiative. Each data point he collected, each algorithm he developed, was another thread in a complex tapestry of understanding. The holographic displays around him were not just screens, but windows into a methodical deconstruction of the system that sought to contain humanity. On the surface, the Horizon appeared to be a standard research vessel. Its external configuration matched thousands of other scientific ships that traversed the restricted zones. But beneath its unremarkable exterior, the ship was a marvel of human innovation, each system modified, each component optimized in ways that would be nearly invisible to external observation. Dr. Chen's team was comprised of individuals who represented the best of human potential. Elena Rodriguez, the diplomatic strategist whose linguistic algorithms could break down communication barriers faster than any known xenolinguistic system. Dr. Camille Edenuga, a systems theorist whose predictive models could anticipate complex bureaucratic responses with uncanny accuracy. Sarah Wong, a quantum communication specialist who had developed encryption methods that made traditional monitoring technologies obsolete. They were not rebels. They were researchers, analysts, strategists. The current project involved mapping the systemic vulnerabilities of the Galactic Concordance's regulatory framework. Each restriction, each limitation, was being cataloged with mathematical precision. What appeared to be passive acceptance was, in reality, a comprehensive intelligence-gathering operation that would reshape the understanding of human capability. Marcus watched as another layer of data integrated into the complex holographic model. The representation shifted, not a static image, but a dynamic, living system that revealed the intricate connections between seemingly unrelated regulatory structures. To an untrained eye, it might look like random patterns. To Marcus and his team, it was a blueprint of possibility. The Horizon's quantum communication array hummed softly, collecting and processing information at speeds that would be unimaginable to most species. Each transmission was a carefully crafted packet of data, seemingly innocuous, but collectively building a comprehensive understanding of the systemic constraints that defined human existence. Outside the ship's hull, the stars continued their ancient dance. Distant navigation beacons marked the boundaries of human-approved space, invisible lines that were about to become significantly less meaningful. Dr. Chen allowed himself a slight smile. The Galactic Concordance believed it understood humanity. They were about to learn how profoundly mistaken they had been. The University of Global Interdimensional Studies was not what it appeared to be. From the outside, it looked like a standard academic institution, a collection of research centers, student facilities, and administrative buildings scattered across multiple continents and orbital platforms. What most did not realize was that this was humanity's most sophisticated intelligence and strategy development network. Elena Rodriguez moved through the central coordination hub, her movements deliberate and measured. Around her, holographic displays tracked information streams from thousands of sources: diplomatic communications, economic indicators, technological developments, and cultural exchanges. Each piece of data was more than information. It was a potential key to understanding the complex systems that governed galactic interactions. Her current project was the culmination of generations of strategic thinking. Where other species saw immediate gains, humans were playing a multi-generational game of systemic understanding. The walls of the coordination hub were lined with historical archives, not just digital records, but carefully preserved physical documents that traced the intricate patterns of human adaptation. Dr. Camille Edenuga approached, his quantum tablet displaying a complex network of interconnected data points. "We've completed the latest predictive model," he said, his voice calm and precise. "The probability matrices are showing interesting convergence points." Elena nodded, her eyes scanning the holographic displays. Each convergence point represented a potential systemic vulnerability, not just in the Galactic Concordance's regulatory framework, but in the fundamental assumptions that underpin their entire governance structure. The strategy was elegantly simple yet profoundly complex. Humanity was not collecting information to stage an immediate confrontation. They were building a comprehensive understanding that would allow them to reshape the entire system from within. Every denied trade route, every dismissed diplomatic proposal, every technological restriction was carefully documented and analyzed. Young researchers worked in interconnected teams, each focusing on specific aspects of galactic systems. A group studying xenoeconomics traced the subtle financial manipulations that kept emerging species marginalized. Another team analyzed communication protocols, developing translation and interpretation technologies that went far beyond traditional linguistic approaches. Sarah Wong's quantum communication research was particularly groundbreaking. She had developed communication algorithms that could detect and interpret systemic biases in diplomatic exchanges. What appeared to be standard communication was, in reality, a sophisticated method of understanding the psychological and structural foundations of galactic governance. The university's orbital research station housed technologies that would be unrecognizable to most species. Quantum computing systems that could model complex social and economic interactions with unprecedented accuracy. Adaptive learning algorithms that could predict bureaucratic responses with near-perfect precision. Elena pulled up a comprehensive timeline, a visual representation of humanity's strategic preparation. Each node represented a specific research initiative, each connection a pathway of understanding. What looked like isolated points of research was, in fact, an intricate web of strategic development. "We're not just collecting information," Elena explained to a group of incoming researchers. "We're developing a comprehensive understanding of systemic interactions. Our goal is not confrontation, but optimization." The approach was quintessentially human, patient, methodical, focused on long-term transformation rather than immediate gratification. Where other species saw limitations, humans saw opportunities for comprehensive understanding and strategic development. Dr. Adenuga's predictive models were showing something remarkable. The current system of galactic governance was far more fragile than anyone realized. Years of maintaining control through complex regulatory frameworks had created multiple points of potential systemic collapse. Humanity was not preparing for a confrontation. They were preparing to demonstrate a fundamentally different approach to civilization-scale problem-solving. As the sun set over the university campus, the coordination hub continued its silent work. Thousands of researchers, analysts, and strategists were weaving a complex tapestry of understanding, a silent revolution that would reshape the foundations of galactic civilization. The Galactic Concordance had no idea what was coming. The Galactic Concordance Council Chamber was a marvel of architectural engineering, a vast, circular space designed to impress and intimidate. Holographic displays floated between crystalline pillars, casting prismatic reflections that danced across the polished surfaces. Delegates from 100 different species occupied their designated platforms, each representing centuries of established galactic hierarchy. Elena Rodriguez stood at the central podium, a solitary human figure surrounded by the most powerful representatives in known space. Her presentation device was deceptively simple, a sleek quantum interface that appeared almost primitive compared to the elaborate technological displays of other delegations. The chamber's ambient noise slowly diminished as she began to speak. Her voice, translated through multiple linguistic filters, carried a precision that immediately captured attention. The initial slides appeared to be standard economic reports, trade volume analyses, resource distribution models, interstellar economic trends. But something was different. Each data point was accompanied by layers of contextual information that began to reveal a complex narrative. The delegates realized they were not looking at a simple presentation, but a comprehensive audit of the Galactic Concordance's regulatory framework. Rodriguez methodically deconstructed the illusion of impartial governance. She demonstrated how seemingly neutral trade regulations created cascading economic limitations for emerging species. Complex visualization algorithms transformed dry statistical data into living, breathing representations of systemic inequity. The quantum nexus representative, a crystalline being known for its impenetrable diplomatic facade, shifted almost imperceptibly. Hidden within the economic data were sophisticated mappings of communication channels, regulatory decision-making processes, and resource allocation strategies that exposed deep-seated structural biases. What we are presenting, Elena explained, her tone clinical and measured, is not an accusation, but a comprehensive analysis of our current governance model's fundamental structural challenges. The presentation moved beyond simple criticism. Each identified systemic issue was accompanied by potential optimization strategies, not as demands, but as collaborative proposals. This was not an attack, but a sophisticated demonstration of problem-solving capabilities. Dr. Camille Adenuga's predictive modeling algorithms worked in real time, generating dynamic projections that showed potential outcomes of proposed systemic adjustments. The holographic displays transformed, showing not just current limitations, but potential pathways to more equitable and efficient governance. The Zorn Collective's senior diplomat, Ambassador Orcs, found himself experiencing an unprecedented emotional response, a mixture of professional admiration and profound discomfort. Humanity was not challenging the system through traditional means of confrontation, but through a level of comprehensive understanding that exposed the fundamental weaknesses in current governance models. Sarah Wong's communication analysis algorithms were running concurrent translations and contextual interpretations. Every diplomatic nuance, every subtle linguistic shift was being captured and processed. The human team was not just presenting information, they were demonstrating a fundamentally different approach to complex system management. Rodriguez's final segment was a masterpiece of strategic communication. She presented the analysis not as a critique, but as an invitation to collaborative reimagining. The data revealed that the current system was not just inequitable, but increasingly unsustainable. More importantly, it suggested that comprehensive transformation was not only possible but necessary for continued galactic stability. The Concordance Council chamber remained silent. The holographic displays continued to pulse with information, a living testament to humanity's comprehensive approach to understanding complex systemic interactions. Elena Rodriguez concluded her presentation with a simple statement that would echo through galactic diplomatic channels for generations. We are not here to dismantle the system. We are here to help optimize it. The silence that followed was not a pause. It was a collective moment of profound realization. The moment Elena Rodriguez concluded her presentation, a meticulously orchestrated information cascade began. Dr. Marcus Chen sat in the central command hub of the Global Interdimensional Studies University, his fingers dancing across quantum interfaces that seemed to breathe with computational potential. Thousands of communication nodes activated simultaneously across multiple galactic networks. These were not simple data transmissions, but a sophisticated symphony of information distribution designed with mathematical precision. Each packet of data was a carefully constructed piece of a larger puzzle, verified and cross-referenced through multiple independent sources. The first wave targeted the Concordance's primary communication infrastructure. Economic ledgers appeared, not as static documents, but as interactive, dynamically linked repositories of information that could be traced, verified, and analyzed in real time. Financial records dating back generations suddenly became transparent, revealing intricate networks of economic manipulation that had remained hidden for centuries. Diplomatic communications emerged next. Private correspondence, carefully preserved and authenticated, showed a systematic pattern of marginalizing emerging species. These were not stolen documents, but meticulously collected and legally obtained records that had simply never been comprehensively examined. Sarah Wong's quantum communication algorithms worked in perfect synchronization. Each information stream was not just a transmission, but a complex network of cross-referenced data points. The system could instantaneously verify the authenticity of any piece of information, rendering traditional methods of denial or obfuscation impossible. The Zorn Collective's communication networks began to buckle under the comprehensive information assault. What made this different from traditional information warfare was its fundamental nature. This was not an attack, but a revelation. Each piece of data was presented with full contextual understanding, showing not just isolated facts, but complex systemic interactions. Dr. Camille Edenuga monitored the global response systems. Predictive models showed how different species and administrative bodies would process this unprecedented level of systemic transparency. The algorithms did not just predict reactions. They provided comprehensive frameworks for understanding and potentially addressing the revealed systemic challenges. Quantum encryption technologies developed by human researchers ensured that the information could not be suppressed, manipulated, or selectively filtered. Every governmental body, every administrative system would have to confront the comprehensive evidence simultaneously. The most remarkable aspect was the approach's fundamental philosophy. This was not an attempt to destroy existing systems, but to provide a comprehensive framework for understanding and potential optimization. Each revealed piece of information came with potential solution strategies, transforming what could have been a destructive process into an opportunity for systemic improvement. Communication channels across multiple species began to light up. Research institutions, independent analysts, and forward-thinking administrators started to process the unprecedented level of systemic transparency. The human team had not just revealed information, they had provided a comprehensive toolkit for understanding complex governance challenges. Marcus watched the holographic displays, each node representing a communication channel, each connection showing how information was being processed and understood. The system was alive, dynamic, a testament to human capability for comprehensive strategic thinking. A message came through from Elena Rodriguez. Phase 1 complete. Systemic transparency achieved. The Galactic Concordance was about to experience a fundamental transformation, and humanity had just demonstrated that the most powerful instrument of change is not force, but comprehensive understanding. The Global Analysis Center hummed with controlled intensity. Massive quantum processors translated the complex psychological implications of humanity's strategic revelation. This was not merely an information release, but a carefully orchestrated demonstration of systemic comprehension that would fundamentally challenge existing galactic paradigms. Dr. Elena Rodriguez studied the emerging psychological profiles with clinical precision. The human research team had spent decades developing advanced analytical frameworks that could deconstruct complex organizational behaviors with unprecedented depth. Each alien administrative system was now revealing its fundamental vulnerabilities, not through aggressive probing, but through comprehensive understanding. The Quantum Nexus delegation experienced the first wave of collective psychological recalibration. Their hierarchical decision-making structures, which had remained unchanged for centuries, suddenly appeared remarkably fragile. The human analysis revealed intricate feedback loops that had created systemic blind spots, preventing genuine innovation and adaptive response. Dr. Camille Edenuga's predictive modeling systems mapped the psychological ripple effects across different species' governance structures. Each civilization processed the comprehensive information differently, but the underlying pattern was consistent, a profound recognition of systemic limitations that had been invisible until this moment. Sarah Wong's communication analysis algorithms tracked linguistic and contextual shifts in real time. The most fascinating discovery was not in the raw data, but in the subtle changes of communication patterns. Diplomatic language began to transform, revealing the deep psychological impact of comprehensive transparency. The research team had done more than expose systemic challenges. They had created a framework for understanding organizational psychology that transcended traditional analytical approaches. Each piece of revealed information was accompanied by potential optimization strategies, transforming what could have been a destructive process into an opportunity for collaborative improvement. Psychological profiles of key administrative leaders were not just collected but comprehensively understood. The human team had developed analytical frameworks that could map decision-making processes with remarkable accuracy. They could predict responses, understand underlying motivations, and identify potential pathways for constructive engagement. The Zorn Collective's leadership found themselves in an unprecedented situation. Their traditionally impenetrable bureaucratic structures were being analyzed with a level of sophistication that rendered traditional defensive mechanisms obsolete. The human approach was not an attack, but a comprehensive diagnostic process. Marcus Chen monitored the global response systems, his interface displaying complex psychological interaction maps. Each node represented an administrative system, each connection showing potential transformation pathways. The visualization was alive, dynamic, a living representation of systemic potential. What made the human approach revolutionary was its fundamental philosophy. This was not about exposure or embarrassment, but about providing a comprehensive toolkit for understanding and potential improvement. Each revealed systemic limitation came with potential solution strategies, transforming what could have been a confrontational process into an opportunity for collaborative reimagining. The psychological impact extended beyond immediate administrative structures. Research institutions, independent analysts, and forward-thinking administrators across multiple species began to recognize the profound implications of this comprehensive approach to systemic understanding. Elena Rodriguez's final report captured the essence of their strategic approach. Our objective is not to dismantle existing systems, but to provide a comprehensive framework for understanding their fundamental capabilities and limitations. True progress emerges from collaborative optimization. The Galactic Concordance was experiencing a fundamental psychological transformation. Humanity had just demonstrated that the most powerful instrument of change is not force or aggression, but comprehensive, empathetic understanding. The central diplomatic chamber of the Galactic Concordance represented centuries of established governance, a space designed to reinforce existing power structures. Crystalline walls reflected holographic displays, and delegates from multiple species occupied carefully positioned platforms that symbolized their hierarchical importance. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez stood at the center, a singular human presence that seemed to defy the chamber's intricate architectural symbolism. Her presentation was not a confrontation, but a comprehensive proposal for systemic reimagination. We are presenting an opportunity for fundamental organizational transformation, she began, her voice modulated to carry with precise clarity across multiple linguistic translation systems. The human delegation had prepared for this moment with generations of strategic planning. What appeared to be a diplomatic presentation was, in reality, a meticulously crafted intervention designed to demonstrate a fundamentally different approach to complex system management. Dr. Camille Edenuga's predictive modeling systems ran concurrent analyses, mapping potential diplomatic responses with unprecedented accuracy. Each potential interaction had been modeled, each potential objection anticipated and addressed before it could be articulated. The key insight was deceptively simple. Existing galactic governance structures were not fundamentally flawed, but operating with outdated organizational paradigms. The human proposal was not about replacement, but optimization, a comprehensive reimagining of administrative frameworks that could adapt more effectively to complex systemic challenges. Ambassador Krillurks of the Zorn Collective listened with growing comprehension. The human approach challenged every established diplomatic protocol. They were not presenting demands, but offering a collaborative framework for systemic improvement. Sarah Wong's communication analysis algorithms tracked linguistic nuances in real time. Each diplomatic statement was simultaneously translated, contextualized, and analyzed for potential systemic implications. The human team had developed communication technologies that went far beyond traditional translation. They were creating comprehensive understanding. The proposal addressed multiple complex challenges simultaneously: economic inequity in resource distribution, technological access limitations for emerging species, bureaucratic inefficiencies in current governance models, communication barriers between different organizational systems. What made the human approach revolutionary was its fundamental philosophy of collaborative optimization. Each identified systemic challenge came with potential solution strategies, transforming what could have been a confrontational process into an opportunity for collective advancement. Marcus Chen monitored the global response systems from the university's central coordination hub. Quantum interfaces displayed complex interaction maps, each node representing potential diplomatic and systemic transformation pathways. Elena Rodriguez's concluding statement captured the essence of their strategic approach. We are not here to dismantle your systems, but to demonstrate a more adaptive approach to complex organizational management. Our objective is collaborative optimization. The chamber remained silent, but it was a silence of profound contemplation, rather than resistance. The human delegation had just demonstrated that true diplomatic power emerges not from aggressive posturing, but from comprehensive understanding and collaborative vision. The Galactic Concordance was about to experience a fundamental diplomatic transformation. Humanity had revealed that the most powerful instrument of change is not force, but a sophisticated, empathetic approach to systemic complexity. The aftermath of humanity's comprehensive diplomatic intervention reverberated through every level of galactic governance. The Concordance found itself confronting a fundamental reimagining of organizational structures that had remained unchanged for centuries. Dr. Elena Rodriguez led a series of collaborative workshops designed to transform initial shock into constructive dialogue. These were not traditional diplomatic meetings, but sophisticated problem-solving sessions that challenged every existing paradigm of interspecies collaboration. The Global Interdimensional Studies University became the epicenter of this transformative process. Research teams from multiple species converged to analyze the comprehensive systemic assessment humanity had presented. What began as a defensive posture gradually transformed into a genuine collaborative effort. Dr. Camille Edenuga's predictive modeling systems continued to play a crucial role. The algorithms demonstrated potential optimization pathways for various governmental and economic systems, revealing opportunities that had remained invisible under previous analytical approaches. Each participating species underwent a profound internal review. The Zorn Collective's administrative structure, which had prided itself on efficiency, discovered multiple layers of unnecessary complexity. The Quantum Nexus found its communication protocols riddled with systemic blind spots that had gone unnoticed for generations. Sarah Wong's advanced communication analysis became a critical tool in facilitating cross-species understanding. Her team had developed translation and interpretation technologies that went far beyond linguistic conversion, capturing nuanced contextual and psychological dimensions of communication. The transformation was not about replacing existing systems, but about comprehensive optimization. Human researchers presented themselves not as replacements, but as collaborative partners in a complex systemic redesign. Each proposed change came with detailed implementation strategies, potential challenges, and adaptive mechanisms. Marcus Chen's research team developed comprehensive frameworks for systemic adaptability. These were not rigid blueprints, but dynamic models that could evolve in response to changing galactic conditions. The key innovation was creating governance structures that could continuously learn and adapt. Psychological research revealed the deeper implications of this systemic transformation. Species that had previously operated within rigid hierarchical structures began to develop more flexible, collaborative approaches to complex problem-solving. The human approach demonstrated that organizational agility was more valuable than rigid control. Economic models underwent radical re-examination. Resources distribution mechanisms that had marginalized emerging species were systematically redesigned to create more equitable and dynamically responsive systems. The focus shifted from maintaining existing power structures to creating sustainable collaborative frameworks. Technological access became a critical area of transformation. Barriers that had previously limited technological exchange between species were carefully dismantled and replaced with collaborative research and development platforms. The emphasis moved from competitive technological development to collective innovation. The most profound change was philosophical. Galactic governance began to view diversity not as a challenge to be managed, but as a fundamental source of systemic strength and innovation. Humanity had demonstrated that comprehensive understanding could transform potential conflict into collaborative opportunity. As the recalibration process continued, it became clear that this was more than a diplomatic intervention. It was a fundamental reimagining of how complex, multi-species systems could function. The human approach had revealed that true progress emerges from empathy, comprehensive understanding, and a commitment to collaborative optimization. The Galactic Concordance was no longer the same. It had been transformed from a rigid administrative structure into a dynamic, adaptive system capable of genuine collaborative innovation. 5 years after the initial systemic intervention, the landscape of galactic civilization had been fundamentally transformed. The diplomatic presentation that once seemed impossible had become a watershed moment in interspecies collaboration. The Global Interdimensional Studies University had evolved into a comprehensive galactic research and collaboration center. What began as a human initiative was now a truly multicultural institution that represented the most advanced approach to systemic problem-solving in known space. Dr. Elena Rodriguez reflected on the journey during a keynote address to representatives from multiple species. The transformation had not been about human supremacy, but about demonstrating a fundamentally different approach to complex system management. Humanity had shown that true power lies not in dominance, but in comprehensive understanding and collaborative potential. Dr. Camille Adenuga's predictive modeling systems had become the gold standard for systemic analysis across multiple species. The algorithms developed by the human research team now helped governance structures anticipate and adapt to complex challenges with unprecedented accuracy and nuance. The economic models that emerged from this collaborative process created unprecedented opportunities for emerging species. Technology transfer mechanisms were redesigned to facilitate genuine knowledge exchange, rather than maintaining existing power imbalances. Research institutions from different species now collaborated on projects that would have been unimaginable just a few years earlier. Sarah Wong's communication technologies had revolutionized interspecies understanding. Translation systems now captured not just linguistic nuances, but complex cultural and psychological contexts. Diplomatic interactions were transformed from potential points of conflict to opportunities for genuine mutual understanding. Marcus Chen's research on systemic adaptability had become a foundational approach to organizational design. Species were learning to create governance structures that could continuously learn, adapt, and optimize themselves. The rigid hierarchical models that had dominated galactic civilization were being replaced by more dynamic, responsive systems. The Zorn Collective, once a bastion of traditional administrative approaches, now led initiatives for systemic innovation. Ambassador Krillers, who had witnessed the initial human intervention, became a leading voice for collaborative governance models that emphasized adaptability and comprehensive understanding. Technological development underwent a profound transformation. Instead of competitive technological races, species now engaged in collaborative research platforms that accelerated innovation while ensuring equitable access and development. The focus shifted from technological supremacy to collective advancement. The philosophical impact was perhaps the most profound. Galactic civilization began to view diversity as its greatest strength, not a challenge to be managed, but a fundamental source of systemic resilience and innovation. The human approach had demonstrated that comprehensive understanding could transform potential conflict into collaborative opportunity. As the universe continued to expand, so did the possibilities of multicultural collaboration. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy through force or technological superiority, but through a sophisticated approach to systemic understanding that valued empathy, collaboration, and continuous learning. The legacy was not about human dominance, but about showing a fundamentally different path to civilizational development. In the vast expanse of the galaxy, humanity had become known not as conquerors, but as architects of a more adaptive, understanding, and collaborative future.